Hello guys, welcome back. This is Peter Dahlgren and we're building Mearsmalls F-86. We are actually in fact doing detailing at this point and starting to get the airplane basically ready to get it ready to paint it up and do some weathering and other neat tricks. But in order to do that, we need to finish the rivets up. And this is a long drawn out purpose, and that's also why I have actually brought it in the house. And I'm going to grab my chair here, and hopefully you can see what I'm doing. If not, then I will look and make sure, and this is good. Now, one of the things is I'm working on this area, and I've done a lot of things with these airplanes over time, and with the Spitfire, I learned about these Mearsmalls sets. And if you're not familiar with what they are a vinyl graphic, and they come in a strip like so. And as you can see, I've been busy doing a bunch, and there's thousands of them on a sheet. And I've got 20 sheets, and I'm just getting started. I've already gone through a couple of them. Now to do this, I will just tape them on the side of the airplane, and I'm going to do a little demonstration on how these work here and how to get them and make them look real good. You're going to need a ruler, you're going to need a pencil, and make sure you got an eraser because you're going to need it. Now, the F-86 had a series of bolts through it here, and it had a bunch of screws. They were actually Phillips heads, but we don't have those. So what we're going to do is we're going to simulate that still, and we're going to go ahead and do this for a little bit. It doesn't take that long to do, and I'm going to show you how this actually goes. And first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to come back in here, and we're going to draw a line across here, and we're going to draw a line across here, a line across here, and a line across here, and you get the picture. And this is how I start getting these, and then we want to look at them and make sure that we got, because there are some rivet details that go across here on the real airplane. And then we're going to come back. If you're real particular, you can come back and go 5 millimeters to this one, 5 here, and so on. But I eyeball it until it's aesthetically pleasing to me. In the middle of these lines here, you're going to want to come up and make a tick mark approximately in the middle of these. And there's 2 full rows of what's going on in there. And then I use a ruler with a cork back on it so it doesn't do any unnecessary scratching. It still will. But then I will take this and tick mark this. And then I just draw the line as it should be done right in there. And then I'll come back and look, and this is why you're going to need an eraser. And this looks, you want to look down the airplane. That line is not where I want it, so I will put another one here, and you can see them, and that looks pretty good on that one. And these erasers are going to help you, keep kind of things going. You're being kind of an artist at this point, and there's no, unless you're really super anal about your airplane, then you go with that. Now down here on this, there's a line, and I'm going to draw this a little bit heavier, and it's going to start right here, It's going to end right here, and this is a line that I'm going to draw all the way across here, and I'm going to get it to where this is where the bolts go, and there is a line of rivets that goes there, and then there's another one that goes across there, and then we're going to eyeball this one to go across there, like so, and over here as well. Now, a lot of guys would tell you, God, that's crazy, just why don't you get a micrometer out and do it? Well, guys, I've built real airplanes. I know how they're built, and what we're doing here to get this detail, I'm just telling you right now that you gotta go. But the one thing I do want to tell you is that when you're working on a lot of this stuff, you want to be doing kind of a deal. Make sure you're still seeing. Yeah. Okay, you're still able to see what I'm doing, and that's good. Now, I don't use this Aerofoil stuff that you get from Mears. Does work, but I don't like to use it on rivets. I like it for everything else. And I will show you basically how I did that with these nodulars, but I got to go get a squeegee, and I got it downstairs in the shop. Now, the one thing is that I do on this is I don't like to use anything but this. And I get this is cheap at $2 a roll, because you're going to go through a crap load of it to do this. Now what I'm doing, I'll take a piece out long enough to go. And yes, I use my airplane for a workbench, guys. I just do it. Everything is kind of there, and then I'll come back like so. And I will put the tape on there, and then I'll rub this enough to loosen up the rivets on there, and then I just simply get it and I lift it off, and the rivets come off like so, just like that. And then I simply come back and I position them the way they look good. I'll lay them just like so, because you can see through it, and rub them down with my fingernail. You can also use a spatula if you want to, but I don't, because it's less likely that you're going to scratch the thing up. Now this looks really good, and so I just simply lift it off, and the tape tore. That's cool. But anyway, as you can see, you wind up getting a row of rivets, and they're perfectly straight, perfectly spaced. And then you can kind of go in and look at the other stuff. Now, for these, I use the screws. And we're going to go ahead and do another row on that, because I know I need to, and I want to show you this, how easy this really is to detail your airplane with these rivets. And again, I'm not paid in any way, shape, or form through Mears. I just really like the guy, and he has done me good on all my builds over the years. And this is not the only airplane that I've done. My Spitfire had 18,000 rivets on the fuselage alone. And unfortunately, we never got that airplane done because, well, never got it done because the shop burned down. And that was all in another episode, and I don't even care about it anymore. So anyway, getting these details set up is not difficult. And if you are looking, a good light source is pretty good to have. And you can kind of go in there and individually you can put these in. You get little stragglers, scrape them off, because once they sit there, they don't come off. And they'll wipe off. Once they're done, they stick extremely well. Just make sure you've cleaned your airplane. I used natured alcohol, and I've only sanded this airplane down to 600 grit. And there's one. I don't. And as you can see, I'm not sure how well you guys are able to see what I'm doing, but anyway, you can take, if you look, you're real overly worried about your spacings, you can kind of go in and take another look. Now I'm going to split the difference on this one. And then you have a perfect rivet line in there. Now, this is one part of this. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with the next part. And if you have any questions on this stuff, please PM me and all that stuff, and I'll explain some more of it. But this is a detail on there. Now, this is how I'm detailing that. And then for the next part of this, I will take and these are screws. And I don't have enough of them, but this is enough of this line to go ahead and get these set across. You got two different sizes. You don't want that many. You want to go with this particular line. I think I got enough to do a little bit. And then again, I like to take these down. And the reason being for it is because what we're going to do here is, yeah. So anyway, getting these things and detailing them down is just kind of whatever. And I like to tape them just because it makes it easier to get to them. These are what I used also on the instrument panels and other things. Now, this is the line we want to use, and as you can see, they come rubbing off there. And if they're you get them, don't get so many that don't get too many, and don't leave them in your shop. If you do, put them in your closet, because they will actually, I don't know what it is about around here in Washington State or where you're at, but they will, they'll mess up bad. I'm just going to get this out of the way. I put it there just so I can show you how I'm doing this. I'll set this right there. And then you can come in for the screw detail. You want to come in a little bit, and then you can push this down into here like so. I use my fingernail. It works just fine, and if one doesn't stick, and sometimes they don't. And this is why I say don't leave them in a good area to where they're not going to get tangled up with moisture and other things like that, and just peel them off very slowly. And then there's partial part of your screw details that go in. And these are little things that go on. And then on these other ones on the top, I do them two at a time, in every other one. And you can do that. And that detail you're going to put in here to the corner. And these are the bigger screw. So once you have them on there, you'll see that they come right off. And then you have already started the beginning of what makes this look like, this is how you take that, because it does look like this in these details. This comes out, marking this will get it out there, and actually end result will be, it's going to look like this, and that's what you want to kind of get in there and get these guns to look like they're supposed to go. This one in just a few minutes is already starting to get there. Now I have lights that go in these gun ports, guys, so this is actually a working part of the model. And the one thing is you can adjust these things and get these things to look really good, but once you come back and you look, you go, oh shit, man, that thing's very highly detailed and looking really good. And rivets are not, I've done already a couple thousand on this thing, and it took me probably about 3 or 4 days to get them because I've been busy. But the one thing is, when you do one thing, work in one area. So I will work this whole area out, and then I'll come back and make this all completely done. Now on these, I want to show you this real quick here too, because these are also a screwed in panel. And yes, there's a dent in it, and I got a little overspray on it, and that's fine, not gonna hurt nothing. The cladding comes out here. These I did by hand because these don't like to stick to aluminum very well. So I'm not going and being completely and totally absolutely relying on this set to make all this stuff come out. But what I am doing is putting a mixture of both on this, and this is just done with a pen. And then this gets sanded off. It's not burnished in yet, and then I'll just sand it off, and once it's done and it's sanded, it comes out looking like that. And then this gets painted anyway, so it's fine. And then you get in there where you're looking at your little details and coming up and going, oh fuck. But anyway, and that's the thing. Oh wow, look at that. You know, it's just kind of one of those deals. And you want to make sure that what you're doing with one side, you're copying as much as you possibly can on the other. This takes a lot of time, but it is actually my favorite thing to do. And this is my favorite part of the build. That means that things are coming out, and then we're going to be doing other things. Now, some systems have been installed on this airplane, meaning the engine and a few other little things, and I'm getting it closer. If I put the landing gear in this airplane and everything, then I can fly it. And also the next video is going to be questions and answers while I'm doing detailing, and I have a bunch of questions that have been asked in there, and so we're going to do an episode on questions and answers about this, technical data and little things about the airplane that a lot of people want to know, and a lot of them are prospective buyers. So these are things that we're going to talk about in the next deal. Anyways, guys, keep these in mind. They simplify details, they make things even better than what they are, and this is something that all of you should, well, give it some consideration. I mean, these are all things that just make your airplane just that much nicer. And if you're not into this and you're not going to fly it, just don't watch the video. Just go out and fly your stuff. Anyway, we'll see you in the funny papers.